welcome back to my channel. My name is Cole Anderson. Today we dip into one of my favorite repertoires, the Mazurkas of Chopin. As usual, if you like my channel, please click the like button and the subscribe button, and also consider becoming a financial supporter of this channel. You can do so either at www.patreon.com/independentpianist or by clicking on my PayPal link in the description box below. So thank you very much for your support. I really depend on your generous financial support to keep bringing you this content week after week. It's not generally well known, but Frédéric Chopin actually did not originate the use of the mazurka in European classical music. Just as with the nocturne, which seems to have been first introduced by the Irish composer John Field, there are mazurkas by a couple of composers who were prominent in the early decades of the 19th century, before Chopin ever wrote one. The largest collection of mazurkas written before Chopin were by the Polish pianist-composer Maria Szymanowska. Szymanowska was a fascinating figure in her own right. She toured extensively as a pianist before settling in St. Petersburg as a teacher and a performer. I haven't seen all of her 25 mazurkas yet, but the ones I have looked at are in a very lovely salon style, rather short, and showing their folk roots quite clearly. You could think of them as being rather analogous to Schubert's various Austrian dances. The mazurka itself, as it comes down to us now through the works of Szymanowska, Chopin, Wieniawski, Karol Szymanowski, Scriabin, and many others who have written mazurkas, are really stylizations of three different Polish dances. The mazur is the most obvious one. It has a very lively tempo and pronounced accents on the second or third beats. This accentuation of the second or third beat could be so noticeable that it even led some of Chopin's contemporaries to imagine that the mazurka was actually in 4 rather than in 3. In fact, Chopin became very angry with Giacomo Meyerbeer on one occasion when the other composer insisted that his mazurka was actually more of a march or something like that. That's just a quality of the mazur. Apparently, Chopin never really forgave Meyerbeer for this insult of the Polish national dance. In Chopin's early mazurkas in particular, you can clearly hear the folk origins of each dance. So, for example, some of the mazurkas are obviously modeled on the kujawiak, which is a kind of a slow, gentle, and nostalgic dance. Opus 41 number 2, for instance, is a great example of that. And some others are obviously taken from the oberek. The oberek is a very fast, whirling dance, much faster than the mazur itself. An obvious example of this would be Opus 7, number 4. In Chopin's latest mazurkas, these folk influences become much less obviously compartmentalized. Instead, they all become combined into pieces that might be rightly termed mazurka fantasies. And that is exactly the case with today's piece, which seems to have qualities of all three traditional dances mixed in at various moments, although the mazur is obviously predominating in this particular dance. In addition, Chopin also incorporated his sympathy for subtle chromatic harmony and intricate concentrated classical counterpoint. Chopin's later works in general, and particularly his mazurkas, always make me think of some of the later Mozart works, like the Rondo in A minor or the Adagio in B minor, which are similarly resplendent with this kind of aching chromaticism and beautiful counterpoint. So I'll tell you honestly, I love the Chopin mazurkas. I think as a whole they represent one of the most perfect collections of piano music that exists. And they demonstrate what was quintessentially great about Chopin in the clearest possible way, his restrained romanticism. There's a kind of fevered imagination that his works show, which is really romantic, but which is always nonetheless classically poised in form. Chopin always seems ready to digress in some extraordinary harmonic direction that in the end turns out to have been entirely justified when you view the piece as a whole. These little miniature tone poems are so full of emotional power, it feels like every note counts. There's absolutely no wasted motion of any kind. So I hope you will feel the same way. Please enjoy the music. Thank you for watching. Until next time.